Hey guys, welcome to AfterBuzz TV's Supergirl Season 2, Episode 4, Survivors After Show. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh yeah, welcome back. So glad to have you. I am your host, Tauri Miller. And I'm joined by three amazing panelists, starting on my left, Stephanie Wenger.
Hi, everybody. Good to be back with you all.
Lacretia Lyon.
Hey, guys. I'm Lacretia Lyon, so you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one.
And the Lex Michael.
And I am Lex Michael, all over social media at the Lex Michael.
Awesome. And where can they find you, Stephanie?
At Stephanie Wenger. Keeping it easy for everybody. Yeah.
Good. Nothing complicated like Tauri J. I have to start by apologizing for the delay in the show. There were a lot of scheduling issues, blah, 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 blah. Excuses aside, glad to be back. Glad to have had such an amazing episode.
Indeed.
I thought there was a lot of great stuff. Things that I never even considered happening on television took place in this episode.
So I have that feeling almost weekly, and I express it emphatically, but I want to know what specifically it was that got that reaction from you.
So specifically it was the like Miss, so I never expected to see Miss Martian on TV, especially with the whole like White Martian reveal that happened. If you haven't watched the episode, spoilers. But like,
Yeah, but also, are you watching an after show for an episode you haven't seen yet?
they just want to get a gist.
Seems backwards.
You know, let them know if they really want to watch it.
They want to experience time travel for themselves. They spend so much time watching these DC shows, and it seems so appealing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think last season when they had the White Martian, I think I actually made that reveal on the after show. I was like, you know, White Martians are this, this, and that, and Miss Martian, who is actually a White Martian, I think I said those words verbatim.
Yeah.
Never thinking that she was ever going to appear. Never thinking we were ever going to have that storyline. And here I am today, eating crow, being like, oh, past Tauri, you so crazy.
No, I agree. That was insanely cool. And I also, not only did I not expect that we'd see any part of what you're describing, but I didn't expect that they dropped that reveal on us so early in the season.
Yeah.
As well. I mean, and that's part of Miss Martian's character going back. She's not a tremendously old character. Jeff Johns and Tony Daniel created Miss Martian for Teen Titans number 37 in August of '06. And if I'm not mistaken, going all the way back to that iteration, that was part of that character. I think part of my brain forgot that, though. So I was watching this episode, and when that reveal happened at the end, I had this weird combination of reactions, like simultaneously. It was like, what the? All right. But again, really cool, because I did not expect that, certainly so soon, possibly not at all. So it was very cool. I'm with you.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, we jumped super far ahead.
Yeah, we started with
Yeah,
the
it
end.
works.
Time travel.
Yeah. we do the time travel.
We'll kind of go back and talk about the whole John-Megan relationship, because it's really interesting.
I know. I was really excited for Martian sex, and it has yet to happen.
Can
We
you,
had
can
this
you
discussion.
imagine how expensive that would be to render?
You know what? But I'd like to see it, CW. You
mean,
have sex on all the other shows, except when it comes to aliens and superheroes.
Though I think for them, all you would really need is like a dark room and then two red eyes like moving frantically.
That's true. You could actually do
See,
a lot of really cool, like, suggestive stuff without revealing too much and doing the expensive green CG.
And they obviously
yeah.
listen to you.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
as they should. You know what? I'm bumping it up. We're gonna talk about Megan and John right gosh darn now.
Well, okay, so if we're going to talk about them right now, one thing specifically that made me insanely happy in this episode was that they were actually talking about the Martian psychic link,
Yeah.
which literally made me go, ah! If you're only listening, I'm like waving my hands at my face.
Yes.
I'm like fangirling super
Flailing.
hard.
I actually, when I was watching this episode, unfortunately, we all watched separately this episode, which is not typical for us, but I definitely thought about you in that moment and was like, you would so love this.
It's like, what do you think Lex did with his hands when this happened? No, for sure, because like if you read almost any iteration of Justice League comics where Martian Manhunter is a member of the team, his psychic link is how the team communicates with each other in the field without having having to use any cumbersome equipment. Jean just basically brains them all together.
Mm-hmm.
So when they started bringing up the psychic link, I'm like, they're doing it!
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, it's real intimacy too. Like, and that's what he's been missing with all these, you know, different aliens and humans. So I really like that that was such a good emotional point for his character too. Yeah.
I agree. We're finally seeing these characters in the second season, almost across the board, but specifically him tonight, really peel back some layers. Like before, we were really into Supergirl and her and Kara and how that world worked for her, but now we're getting all these characters and we're learning a little bit more about Alex. I'm sure we'll get into that as well, but I really enjoyed that peeling back of all the characters.
Yeah, I mean, kind of to that point, I really like that this season we're getting a lot of people who are seeing reflections of themselves, but just slightly different. And so, like, I love that we get John, who is really pushing this girl he doesn't know to, like, link with him psychically. Just because, like, they're both the last of their species. And I like that they have such different perspectives on things. Like, she just wants to be left alone. She kind of has a little bit of survivor's guilt. But, like, ultimately, like, she's not looking to be a hero.
Right.
And he's trying to bring her out into the light and make her something that she's not, essentially.
Hey, baby, we're the last of our kind. You want to link psychically?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd still watch it.
I would.
But, I mean, what did you guys think about John's persistence? Did you think he was justified in doing so? Do you think that he was being bullheaded?
Well, so I'm glad that by the end of the episode, he did come around and he said, basically, all right, it's okay if you don't want to psychically bond with this dude you just met. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I would just like to get to know you and so on and so forth. I'm glad that he got there by the end, but I do understand. I understand where he's coming from, and I think this show has consistently done a really great job of being able to make you see somebody's point of view, even if their actions are a little bit... You totally get where he's coming from. Or I totally got where he was coming from.
I understood why he wanted to have that connection, like his history, and it made a lot of sense. But I was glad that he came back around and really showed that he still wants to be there for her and have this friendship, even if they're not linked in that, specific way.
Yeah.
But of course, there's the double motivation for her not to link psychically with him. The one obvious being, I don't really know you, guy. This is a little forward. And the other being, well, if we link psychically, he's gonna know I'm not actually a green Martian, but in fact a scarier looking white one.
Right.
So I understand her reservations on that front as well.
I mean, maybe.
He's like, I
Just a little.
only wanted to link psychically with you when I found out you were a green Martian. I don't link psychically with white Martians.
I'm just not into it. It's not like a race thing. It's just like a preference thing. Racist. Well, I mean, and he also got really, like, daddy-ish when he found out that she was fighting in the fighting ring. Because, well, I mean, it's not the most honorable thing to do, but, like, you definitely understand her perspective in that, like, it's not all she knows what to do, but you would imagine that she has a lot of steam to blow off.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to do it by linking psychically. She's got to fight it out.
That's true. I mean, so we got a little bit of her backstory. In that she told John that she was in one of the worst camps on Mars, and then a white Martian helped her out and basically smuggled her away. So we are to assume, or I guess are we to assume, that she was in fact like the Schindler of the Martians.
Oh man, that's...
Yeah.
Yes, but also yikes.
Yes, well, I mean, that's the parallel that they're...
For sure, and I think there's definitely an argument to be made there, and it'll be interesting. That revelation, obviously, we got it very early. It'll be interesting to see once it is revealed to Jean, because there's too much potential drama there not to reveal it to him at some point, presumably in the relatively near future. it'll be curious to see whether or not we get the more accurate version of that story and to see what her point of view is, because the White Martians have not been portrayed as I'll put it this way, they're portrayed pretty much like what you see at the end of this episode, the big scary looking thing. But the fact that M'gann can do and be and say all of these other things, these things that indicate a much greater depth of emotional intelligence than we've been led to believe White Martians are capable of. It'll be interesting to see how Jean receives that, certainly, because his association with White Martians is exactly what hers was in her story. It's all insanely negative, like they killed Homeboy's family and stuff.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how he processes all of that as well.
Yeah.
This is definitely barking up CW territory, but because they're using Martians, it's acceptable. I'm just like, oh, this emotional story arc here that we normally hate, this conflict that is so CW, but because it's aliens, we're totally cool with it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Stephanie, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that it's going to be interesting to see. Right now, like, I don't think as an audience you can trust her at all. Like, I mean, clearly she had a big secret.
Yeah.
But I think what's going to be heartbreaking is that he really hasn't been able to trust anyone or let anyone in for a very long time, and he seems really wanting to let somebody in. So emotionally, when he finds this out, it's going to be a disaster for him.
Yeah, and imagine what it's like. I mean, to your point, to think for as long as you could remember, I'm completely alone. There are no more like me. Then to find someone and have this moment of, oh my, I'm actually not alone in the universe. And then to have that forcibly yanked away from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That probably smarts a little bit.
Just a little.
Just like a titch.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be, I imagine, in the next 3 to 4 episodes, we're probably going to have that reveal, I'm guessing.
A couple of seasons ago on these CW DC shows, I might have said, we're probably not going to get resolution on this for like a year, but they're doing actually a really great job, I think, across the board, not artificially dragging out conflicts for the sake of drama, which I really appreciate.
I agree with you. I think this feels like something that we're going to get before the new year, would be my guess. It like that moment of him, that reveal, I guess.
And I think that him dealing with it is very much on theme for this season, especially with Kara and Mon-El kind of coming to grips with their relationship. So, I mean, because we see the actual destruction of Mon-El's home, which was real brutal.
No.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for you guys about that, because it seemed like this was a really big thing, real big expensive looking sequence too, for it not to come back in some capacity.
Yeah.
Did anybody, maybe I'm the only one, did any of you guys get a vibe that maybe Mon-El and this prince that he was assigned to were somehow involved? Am I the only one whose brain like started to
Like
do that?
involved in the explosion of...
No, I mean involved like romantically with each other.
Oh, yes. So my
Not like
roommate
they're
and I-
secretly terrorists, but
Yes.
no, like, yeah, romantically involved.
yes. My roommate and I were talking about that. That they had a very connected vibe to them, which would be really interesting. And like my response to that was that they're kind of setting him up to be the love interest for Kara a bit. I mean, she don't need no man, so I would be fine if they didn't end up together. But I would also like it if he's just like a Jack type where he's polyamorous and he just loves whatever.
For sure. I will say after this episode, I'm almost shipping Mon-El and Win more than I am Mon-El and Kara.
Yes.
Weirdly, all over this show, I find, like, I'm not, and you guys know, especially you guys who've done more shows with me, I'm not really a big shipper.
Yeah.
I like, sometimes I can accept when, like, oh, these two people are totally cute, like Barry and Patty last year on The Flash. I was like, oh, they're really
Yeah,
cute.
that's cute.
I can appreciate that stuff, but that's not really what I go to these shows for. Weirdly, though, the more I think about it, almost every potential same-sex pairing on this show, I'm like, oh, yes, all of it. The ship, send the armada. Like, go, let's do it.
I had that in my notes. It was I shipped them as #Winel.
Yeah, Yeah, I think that I'm guessing that he'll probably end up with Kara first. Like, I don't think that Win maybe in the future, but I think
I'm not saying, like, this is not a prediction. I would not be mad if this happened.
Oh, okay. That's
yeah.
fair. No, I wouldn't be mad either. But I just, I think that the theme of the episode with survivors, and you saw so much of that tonight, was how Kara's a survivor, how Mon-El is a survivor, and it was over and over and over again a theme in, I think, all the storylines in this episode.
And trying to process the survivor's guilt and trying to come to terms with, and again, they're all more or less the last of their kind to their knowledge. I mean, yes, there's Superman out there, but because he's not a regular fixture on the show, for all intents and purposes, Kara's the last Kryptonian around. Mon-El is the last Daxamite. You know what? He's the last one. Jean spent so much time thinking he was the last Green Martian, and spoilers for Jean, he is. So that's So like that. You're right. That's absolutely very much a recurring theme in every subplot.
And to me, it wasn't just about the surviving and the survivor's guilt, but also overcoming discrimination. I mean, the Martian storyline is about white versus green Martians. The, Kara and Mon-El is about, versus, Daxites or
Daxamites and Kryptonians. Yeah. I was really surprised.
I was like,
too, what a Daxamarians. I was really impressed at the way, far more so than I noticed in season 1, but the way they really seem to be very pointedly addressing real present social issues.
Well, we talked about it last week on our show too, that especially I remember in the script for last week's episode, so many lines that were just in what's going on politically and socially in our country right now, so pointed, and it's incredible and awesome that the CW is doing that, because it's a network show and you don't always see that.
Well, I mean, it's very much like Buffy before it, where you take these teen-ish oriented shows with fantastical elements, and then you use those to teach lessons, and then we'll actually listen because it's aliens.
Right, of course.
Yeah. and that really is what what I do love about, the writing coming back to where it was back when, I watched Buffy, Angel Charm. It's sort of back to that era of we're trying to teach lessons with stuff we can actually relate to and care about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And definitely Win and Mon-El.
For sure.
Yeah, and the chat seems to like too.
I definitely wrote down bromance for them, so it could transition into romance.
I loved them going out and broing out, and him teaching him words like chillax and awesome. That was just so cute.
Worst words.
Yeah.
I loved the scene of them going out, and but the lead up to it, where Mon-El is essentially kind of playing to Win's vanity a bit, was a really fun scene.
Yes.
But I have a question. Do you guys feel like Mon-El was too casual about his tale of his world essentially being destroyed? Because it was only for him, it was yesterday or a week ago.
He is a young male, and he's trying to seem cool to, these people. So I could see him sort of just blowing it off, broing out. I mean, you see, he's sort of more of a bro.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what I took away from that was not so much that he was being casual about it, but he's trying to move forward, and he was talking about meeting girls, and clearly he's interested in Kara at least, and getting out and having a life. I think he wants to essentially start over, for lack of a better description. And you're not, if that's your mentality, you're not going to be well, it was so tragic. You're going to move forward, and you may see him as the season goes on kind of break down and get a little bit more into, I guess, the tragedy of it.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being the case. I could see a couple of other possibilities too. I mean, such a massive tragedy, especially being so close to it in his mental timeline. I can imagine that just being too much to process, especially when you're on a different planet, and on this planet everything's more or less fine. I can imagine it seeming like such a surreal idea that you're not immediately connected to it. I can also see, and this goes back to maybe he did have a relationship with his prince, or maybe any number of other things. Maybe there is more to the story than he is telling thus far, and that could account for something. Which isn't to say I think there's something sinister happening, but just that there might be more to the story than he wants them to know right now.
I also wondered, it was such an interesting moment to have him walk in when she was talking to the hologram of her mother. And
the hologram starts being racist.
I know. And she's like, yeah,
Yeah.
my parents were
Yeah.
perfect. That was just another very obvious, like, haha, like real life.
Hashtag my mom is a racist hologram.
yeah. But what I wondered about was, okay, so you have this moment, and clearly it's meant that it like brings them together, that he sees her in this private moment. But also, I wondered about, like, does she know something about his home that maybe, I don't know. Like, I wondered what the larger ramifications of that.
Yeah, I love Ryan Whittle-Listen.
Whitallison,
Yeah. Okay, good. You guys know these people.
Yeah.
They're new to me.
Good old Ryan.
All right.
What's
Well,
up, son?
now that the internet finally works, he wanted to point out the never call someone's mom a babe line. I thought that was pretty funny because he's like, oh, I thought that's what you're supposed to call hot women.
I mean, she's a hot mom, though.
yeah, Laura Benanti's amazing.
Can I wanted to, I don't know if I wanted to comment on this hologram, but like she was being very like she was being very computer like. Kara is essentially being like, oh man, such great things, and she's like, yes, honey, you are great. And then Miss Daxamite comes in and she's like, F that guy, let's kill his family. Worst. That's
That was
how
awesome.
I felt about
Well,
that.
it's like Siri. How Siri's
Yeah.
very like monotone and robotic, and then you say the wrong thing to Siri, and she makes fun of you for not having friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like that.
And
Great.
Siri turns out to be racist now against Daxamites.
Weirdly, only Daxamites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the frats of space.
I know, it's like they're bros.
Space frats.
Space.
Why haven't you pitched this to a major network, Kari? Space frats.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm using this platform to pitch my new show,
And then-
Space Frat.
I'm just like, Zap Brannigan must be like the founding member.
Ah, man. Alpha Centauri for Kappa Kappa Kappa. All right, that's enough of that. Anyway, so in the midst of all of this, when going out with Mon-El and all that stuff, we have a slew, and by a slew I mean one single alien that is found dead
Yeah.
in the streets. And so Maggie and Alex go out and try to figure out what happened, and they run into this sweet, I guess morally bad, but visually sweet alien fight club.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought, one, the visuals were amazing.
Yes.
I thought across the board tonight, actually, they did incredible visuals
Yeah.
on this show.
I feel like I shouldn't be surprised anymore because this has been consistently an amazing looking show, and yet every week I'm just going, damn.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they did Roulette and having this alien fight club, it was just like, this is a TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, because it felt big, and like, and I know that you guys aren't going to appreciate this comparison, but like Gossip Girl, when they had all the money of like the CW, they had these big things like this, and that's the way it felt like.
Wait, they had like big alien fight clubs on Gossip Girl?
No, they had like.
Why have I
course
not
they
been
did.
watching Gossip Girl? That sounds great.
Well,
No, but like big events with like tons of extras and these like parties like this, and with the like even like outside of the special effects, just the way that it's all done. And I was like, it's so impressive when you get to this point, and like they're obviously giving them funding to do it, so that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, what did you guys think of Roulette? I mean, she was, to me, one, very pretty.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got Deaton Lockman playing this character.
it was
Yes.
great on Dollhouse.
On
yeah.
Dollhouse,
Yeah.
on Agents of
Agents
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Shield, The 100, CW Fam.
And Roulette, too, is another Jeff Johns creation from JSA Secret Files #2, like back in September of 01. And it's funny, if you go... Yeah, I'm a nerd. Get out of here.
I love when he does that.
But it's funny, if you go, like, just Google this character and you go to, like, the character's Wikipedia page and you look at the picture that they have of the character from the books,
Yeah.
it is like she stepped off of the page, and it is exactly what we got in the episode, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got East Blue Drew said Roulette was fun as fuck. Fill in the blank.
Yes.
A lot of
Yeah.
keyboard symbols.
Yes. I also like that as a character. I feel like she's the first character that we've seen that is pretty much untouchable. And beyond that, she doesn't care about anything. She had this line about Michael Vick having it all wrong. That was hardcore.
I thought that was so cool, and I literally think that is the most scumbag thing ever. But I was just like, damn, that was dark. This is a supervillain.
There was like this concept in this episode too, which is like this like super heavy, but again, I guess good, like seriously good on them for addressing the fact that there are people who view literal animals more highly than they view minority groups. Like, that's a big idea for a flying around super punchy show to tackle, and they did it, and I thought that was really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, when that line came up, I was like, we're going there, okay, like, and I mean, they did, and they, I guess every week, again, we shouldn't be surprised, they're making really poignant scripts at this point, or stories and scripts, and
Sorry.
I was going to say, not to take it to a weird place, but Fantasy Stats Guru said, haha, Tauri gets turned on by someone nerding out, laugh out loud. I just thought that was funny.
Have you been watching our after show?
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, yeah. Tell me what comics that's from, girl. Yeah. What?
I was like, where are we?
Now it got weird, guys.
It stayed weird.
It's amazing to me because this show doesn't need to address these things. You know what I mean? Like they're under no obligation to tackle these ideas, and they're doing it because they can, and they have a platform to do it. Where like we were saying earlier, you can actually present these ideas to people, but through the prism of look, aliens, and they're punching each other, and it's fun. And you could actually plant seeds of progressive ideas in people's head, and I think that's insanely cool because it doesn't have to do that, and it's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some people are not aware of who Michael Vick is, so we'll do a little education.
Oh.
All right, well, Michael Vick is a football player and actually still a current NFL player because they obviously think that, you know, it's okay to beat your wife, so why not kill a bunch of dogs too? So Michael Vick was arrested several years ago for owning a dog fighting ring and allowing that to go on, which there were several pit bulls found dead at his home. This guy is a scumbag. So for her to bring up that Michael Vick, you know, did the wrong thing by picking dogs. People care about dogs. They don't care about aliens. That's pretty dark.
Yeah. I mean, because even that kind of goes back to when they used to fight slaves and things. Like there's a rich history of pinning, lower classes against one another. Rough.
Yeah, big. If you're only listening, big quotation fingers around lower, there, like massive, like the biggest quotation fingers.
Yeah, just to be clear.
Yeah, I'll release a GIF later.
Later. And I'm just like, no one do with the alien. His name is Robert Paulson.
Nice. I feel like the saddest part about the show was seeing Alex and Maggie when she asks her out, and then Maggie's like, "This is my girlfriend."
So this like 1-2 of the show clearly ships the two of them as well. That makes me happy. Oh, who is this? Oh, she didn't even introduce her to her girlfriend before they bailed.
But I have to say, it was so sweet early on in the episode when they held hands as they were going in to, I guess, to the alien fight
club.
Yeah, fight club. It was so sweet, and I was like, oh, this is happening. I'm so excited, and I was so bummed that she has a girlfriend. I don't think it's the end of that storyline. Like, it will evolve out.
Yeah, Alex looked way too wounded for this to be the end of that storyline.
Yeah.
Well, and I think this is really about Alex discovering herself more than anything. I do want her and Maggie to get together. I mean, I love how I pretty much only ship same-sex couples on, so John and Rip forever.
Have you noticed that I ship every couple?
Every possible permutation.
But I so kind of figured this was the direction they were going with Alex. As I mentioned to Tauri earlier, she didn't have sex with Peter Facinelli.
That's true.
Did Maxwell, the sexy billionaire? that means you're gay. Sorry. It's like, she is obviously not into dudes, because that one was pretty good looking.
She was like,
Yeah.
she's like, I know you're a scoundrel, but I mean, I'm just not into.
She likes ladies.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's the only way to explain
just
it.
keep processing
Yeah.
it.
It's like scoundrel. Han Solo's a scoundrel. Maxwell Lord is closer to villainy, I would say.
But in a hot way, like Malcolm Merlin. Okay, like, I got a fetish here, guys.
Villain fetish.
Yeah.
Boy.
You won't see that on Pet Life. All right.
How am I dressed?
Cool.
What?
Well, weird Pet Life reference on a Supergirl after show. Everyone just wrap your brain around
And
that.
they're gonna go look for your username on there.
Please don't. I'm not. All right. Moving on.
I am on Hook a Canuck though, guys.
I just want, before we move on to anything else, I want to note that we got a Warworld reference in this episode, which has either has great implications or it was just a cute little Easter egg. For those who don't know, Warworld is the dwelling of Mongol. Very hard to pronounce.
We're just struggling tonight.
And it's basically just like a giant. It's basically like you could qualify it as a giant weaponized world, if you will. And it's I want it. I want it now.
I do as well. It's another one of those things where even now, there's a part of my brain that has been conditioned to think, oh, we're never going to see Warworld and Mongol on TV. But then I remember like what I just watched, and I went, oh, we might. That's actually a thing that could possibly.
We got King Shark.
Yeah, like
And
that's
Gorilla God.
It's actually a thing that could happen, and I don't think there is enough space in Los Angeles to contain the squee that will emerge from my body.
Gross.
Yeah, squee. We'll need buckets to carry the squee out of Los Angeles.
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't know that I want to be in the same room as you when you watch that.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I think of squee as like a sound, but the phrasing I just used was terribly misleading and rather unpleasant sounding. So let's walk that back slightly and say that I will be very, very excited.
I love watching these episodes with you, but that sounded really terrible.
It's like squee out of every orifice.
Hashtag buckets of squee.
Yeah, I mean, just think about past Tauri that I was talking about earlier, who was like, Miss Martian, never gonna happen. And then here we are today. So I feel like in a year, we're gonna be on episode 5 of season 3, and we're gonna be like, oh my gosh, Warworld, so amazing. Am I right, guys? So let the record be set that we want Warworld, and we shall get Warworld, producers. And with that, I think we're gonna move into predictions.
So somewhere in Vancouver, somebody's like, I think that man just threatened us.
I threaten them all the time about Constantine. But they're like, it's NBC, no one cares.
Yeah.
They're 5.
So on the next episode preview, we basically get a lot of Jimmy Olsen being real mad about stuff. And so it seems like it's going to be the beginning of him transitioning into Guardian, potentially.
Brother gonna get some powers.
Ooh.
I'm looking forward to it. There's one line in the promo that like didn't sit well with me, and it's when Jimmy Olsen says, "My whole life I've been a sidekick." And I'm like, look at Makad Brooks, all right?
No.
Like there is no possible way this dude has always been a sidekick. That aside, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, he did play pretty much Terrell Owens, so it is hard to believe him as the sidekick part. I had to accept that he is like a different version of James Olsen.
Right.
This Guardian character. Who, at one point, did they not go that direction with Dig, and now they're kind of backing off of it?
No,
Yeah.
Dig will always be Spartan.
Yeah.
Maybe when he said that, and we'll have to see next episode, but I'm going to predict that he was saying that his whole life he's been a late 90s phone that you can send text messages from.
Oh, and it makes
yeah,
the
that.
sound every time you
Yes,
open it.
of
And then
course.
the
Yes.
yeah.
For
Yeah,
those
that's
two
what he
guys,
meant.
it's a sidekick.
T-Mobile.
Google it.
Yeah, that's totally what he meant.
What do you think, Stephanie?
I mean, I'm just excited for. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see Jimmy kind of. It's interesting to see him in this new role that he has now at Catco, and then how he's relating to the editor as well. I think that's going to be interesting once he makes that transformation. Will that relationship change?
Yeah.
I am very, like, I'm not even joking. I'm actually looking forward to more Snapper Carr angrily teaching Kara about journalism.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he may not be the slacker he is in the comics, but I do love Ian Gomez, and it is just funny to see him just come into gruff.
It also just brings me back to journalism school. It's so funny to hear because I don't think about it in that way anymore because I write all the time. And so now it's like, oh yeah, graph this, that. I'm like, oh yeah, that is right. That's like how you're supposed to like start with everything. It is like the basics of journalism. It's really fun to hear on a TV show.
I love that they're getting the accuracy in journalism.
I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, just to be
No,
clear.
I'm gonna learn everything I need to know about journalism from this show this season.
And to be fair, like, it's the same weird, and I see it more with journalism than with almost any other profession in fiction, where it seems like people can just magically become staff writers places with no prior experience.
So I can get real nerdy about this. I took an image of the journalist in pop culture class. So you look at all different films and TV shows and books and how they're portrayed. It's a fascinating world to get into, but nothing particularly to do with Supergirl. But really, just a fascinating look.
But it's like I am glad that if they're going to get how you become a journalist so incorrect, that they're actually, once she's in that position, we're actually having a real conversation about journalism in the middle of this crazy superpowered alien social justice show, which again, they don't have to do that, and they're doing it. And I think that's really
just
cool.
is like, get real sources. It also, again, plays into kind of what's going on in the media as well.
Yes.
Like, so it's like, get real sources, confirm your facts, all of that stuff. That's
Yeah, we're
so,
not Reddit.
Yeah, like the fundamentals of journalism. Yeah.
Nice.
So like, no joke, I am actually looking forward to more of that.
It's great. I also liked watching you nerd out about journalism.
Thanks, guys.
It's my bad.
You joined the nerd club, and I was here for it.
I mean, it's quite. I can get quite nerdy with it. So sorry, guys. I'll focus on Supergirl.
Does anyone have any sweet predictions left, or shall we wrap this baby up?
I don't know. I think that Lena Luthor gave Kara that information, and just because I feel that she knows more than she lets on about Kara.
Oh. I mean, she did give a weird look at after Kara left.
Yeah, because I think she probably did attend those weird alien fight clubs and probably those sex parties too. Those are their other nights with those masks.
Totally. She should invite me to the next
Yeah, I like Lena.
one for science.
Yeah,
for
science
observation
for science,
and
yes.
science.
Yeah.
Yep.
For observation and science.
You'll carry this burden
Yeah.
for the rest of us.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you
very
so much.
so. Okay. I think I'm gonna end it on that.
Yep. Sex parties. Hashtag sex parties. Hashtag Martian
man.
sex parties.
Thank you for
I'm just gonna
joining
say
us
them.
on AfterBuzz TV. This has been Supergirl AfterBuzz episode 204 Survivor.
I feel like it got real crazy.
Yeah.
You can find
Yeah.
me on Twitter at Stephanie Wenger. Yeah.
And I'm Lacretia Lyon, guys. You can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one, and on the other DC TV shows. I'm on Arrow, I'm on Legends of Tomorrow, and who knows where else?
Who knows where else? I might know where else,
Yeah.
but I'm not telling. I'm all over social media at the Lex Michael, and yes, I am also all over DC on CW, on ABTV. I'm here. I'm on Arrow. I'm on Legends of Tomorrow. You, me, Lacretia, we do Ash vs. Evil Dead. We do the comic book exchange on Book Circle Online. There are so many wonderful places for you to come and nerd out with us, so please do. We love you.
And I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me at Tauri J on Instagram and Twitter. It's TAURIJAY. I'm also all over the DC slate. Most shows that these people are on, and then some shows they're not. I'd like to thank you again for joining us. We apologize for the delay, but good things are worth waiting for, and this was a great thing. So until we see you next week, have a super week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.